Hey everyone, it's Aging Grateful. I'm Bobby.
I'm Cedric.
Okay, everyone, so we're going to address the 5 fears that men have about moving to Mexico. But what led us down this rabbit hole, this video, was because we're starting to see more and more in various Facebook groups and other groups that are YouTube as well, community. And a lot of it is women traveling abroad or moving actually abroad, right? And specifically to Mexico. And you're seeing it all the time in all these groups. But then we were wondering, like, as couples, as married couples, there's not a lot of the men that are doing it more so. It's more so women. And why that is the case, right?
Yeah, it kind of led to this discussion, and these are going to be my opinions as a
Yes.
man. First of all, this is not. I don't speak for all men.
Let him say that. He don't speak for all men, but he's going to share his.
Yeah, I can give what my thoughts and opinions are from a male, obviously. So yeah, so I think there are a lot of men that do move abroad into Mexico.
Sure.
They just may not be out in the open as far as social media and things like that. But
I agree.
But more so, you definitely see women. The groups. You even see women leaving their husband at home. You see,
we're not gonna talk about that.
Are we
gonna talk about that?
we just had somebody in the Facebook group talking about that. And if you're watching our video and you're hearing San Miguel, you know who you are that posted that. Please, if you want to, hey, we'd love to interview you and pick your brain on that, because I'm sure that was an interesting conversation. But anyways, back to what we was talking about.
I'm gonna let him have his due today. So let's start with number.
I think if I'm gonna say the main reason why men aren't moving abroad in New Mexico is because of finance and the money aspect of it and the job. And I get asked this all the time from men, about work and stuff like that, because we've been drilled in our heads from society as men to take care of the household. It's even in the Bible, take care of the household and all that stuff, right? So a lot of times, especially if we're working brick and mortar jobs, we just can't we don't want to just up and leave our job and say we can do anything we want to do, but we typically don't want to up and leave our jobs. If you're in the government, you got some type of pension, you don't want to lose that stuff. If you're in the government and you're Department of Defense or anything like that, and you got these laptops with cat cards and all that stuff, can't take out of the country. There's a myriad of reasons, but I think having a stable, consistent income as a man is a big deal. The whole financial roller coaster of I might make this 1 month, I might make that 1 month, I think plays a lot into it, into our ego, into who we are as men.
Mm-hmm. Basically, you saying it's got to be the funds to provide that would probably hesitate men from moving, like just taking the jump to move to
Mexico. Right. Now if you're
something solid.
Right, if you're an entrepreneur already and you got businesses and you're used to working like freelance and working like that on your own, then it'll be easier. But for the majority of men that have work, corporate 9-to-5 jobs, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal. So what can you do to maybe, if Mexico is an option to move abroad, what are some things that you could do to potentially make that move from the financial perspective?
You have to evaluate what's really important, and you have to look, remote work, of course, has opened up the gateway for all kinds of work and income. We did a whole series on how to generate income abroad. It's in one of our videos. I'll put it in the thing at the end. But
you may have to be an entrepreneur.
yeah, you may have to be an entrepreneur. I mean, if you have especially if you have a brick and mortar corporate type job, you may have to be an entrepreneur, or you can do what a lot of Mexicans do is they go to the U.S. and work for a few months and save money and then come back. You know, that's maybe enough to fund, you know, them for the rest of the year. You may be able to do stuff like that. I mean, there's creative options, but I think the big one is from the stability standpoint, having a consistent income to take care of your family is a big hurdle that a lot of men have to get past.
Also, you know, if you are going to make the jump, maybe something like, you know, building a buffer,
Yeah.
or some type of security as far as funds is concerned, savings, investments that might float you for a while you make the jump to Mexico, and maybe trying to figure out what to do next if you are dead set on moving to Mexico and taking that risk.
Yeah, because you got to have a buffer because the exchange rate changes, and that dollar or two in exchange rate makes a big difference in your bills and stuff. So
Really?
definitely do that.
What's number two?
I say the number two is going to be safety.
Okay.
Again, as a man and usually as the head of the household, women look at you, looking at me like, how many times we walk somewhere, you're like, you gonna protect me? These dogs are up here. She had like, I'm just gonna leave her in the streets like she did me on the Eiffel Tower. We're not gonna talk about that. But anyways.
That's a story for another day, and that's not what happened. But definitely not. You think you're gonna protect me? Okay.
But no, seriously though, in all seriously, safety, it's been ingrained in our heads, you know, Mexico's dangerous, cartel, yada, yada, yada. So it's the safety aspect, you know, am I gonna be safe? Is my family gonna be safe?
As a black man.
As a black man, am I gonna be safe?
Be safe, right?
Yeah, just all the stigma that comes with safety.
It could be a fear, absolutely.
And then if you're seeing, you know, police ride around with their machine guns and you see bars on all the windows, you know, is that a trigger? You automatically think, oh, it can't be safe because of those things, and that's just part of the culture.
It's safe, yeah.
It's definitely safe.
We walk around at night.
Yeah, and I trust y'all to walk around at night. I don't have a problem with my daughter or wife walking around at night, you know. And with any place on planet Earth, you got to use some you do have to use some common sense,
Keep your
right?
head on a swivel.
Yeah, you're not walking around through alleys at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that. I mean, just different things. Things you can do to mitigate that is try not to look like a tourist. You know, try to blend in. I tell people, you know, don't be having flashy clothes. You know, see what the locals are wearing in your area and try to dress like the locals dress. You know, for the most part, what's the point? You're here to relax and have a better life anyway. You know,
just don't be extra flashy.
Just don't look lost. Like I tell people, I think we talked about this before. Invest in some earbuds, and if you got to go somewhere and you're walking around and you got your maps on, put an earbud in and you can listen to the directions that way versus you doing all this
and looking with your phone.
Yeah, looking around and all that stuff. So those are kind of giveaways.
I agree with that.
I see people do it all the time. They're like, you know, doing these things, looking around, and I'm like, yeah, you just look like you just, you know, put that little somebody. Oh yeah, I see people doing that all the time.
Okay.
That's an invitation for petty theft and scams.
Because you're not looking.
Because you're not paying. Well, people know that you're not
paying attention.
They're from there, right?
Okay.
So yeah, that's one thing.
Learn what the emergency.
Yeah, learn what the emergency numbers are. Is it 911? Is it 411? Is it whatever it is? Don't wait till emergency happens and then realize you don't even know what to dial, because 911 is not everywhere.
True
in most countries, so 911 is not going to get you anything.
Just know what you're dialing. Okay?
Just know what you're dialing. Learn where the embassies are, you know, what they offer, stuff like that, you know.
You always want to make sure that, you know, from a safety perspective, you know how to get in touch with who you need to get in touch with,
right,
if emergencies or situations arise, right?
Yeah.
So then what's next?
Another thing could be language barriers. Language barriers is a thing.
Habla español.
See, un poco.
Okay.
But anxiety is a thing. For me, especially when we first moved to Mexico, there was a lot of things I wouldn't do because I would get so much anxiety to have a conversation or communicate with somebody, right? And it's easy to say y'all just use Google Translate, but so many times you walk around and Google Translate don't work, you start to lose confidence in Google. I have no confidence in Google Translate. I'm just gonna tell you straight up.
Oh Lord.
I have no yeah, it'll work.
This is not a video against Google Translate. So if you happen
and it's not necessarily Google Translate, it's the cell phone signals that or lack thereof when you're in these places, right? Even when you're downloading you can download it the Google thing and it's still like you know what it is. You talk and it's like I'm not gonna do anything.
I know. But yes, building that confidence.
Yeah.
It can be a fear. It can be overwhelming. Right.
Yeah, and you gotta be confident even if you're not confident. Perfect example of that when I went to the dentist's office and I came in there speaking my Spanish. And the lady's like, "Oh, do you habla español?" And I was like, "Oh, poquito, un poco."
Oh, she was sugarcoating it for him, boy. She was like, "Oh, you speak such beautiful Spanish," and I'm sitting here like, muy poquito español.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, you're so confident, whatever." I said, "You would have asked me about 2 more questions, and you would have seen real quick that was my limitation. I knew what I came in there to do and say, and then
that was it. You had it down. That part.
I had it down, and that's another tip. Practice whatever you're gonna say when you get there, before you get there.
Absolutely.
And things like that.
What about the gringo tax part?
Oh yes, and the gringo tax is a thing. So that goes into the confidence because when you don't have the confidence and people seeing that you're struggling and things like that, they will gringo tax you. A lot of places they will give you a different price. A foreigner, as they call the gringo tax, the foreigner's tax, they'll charge you more than what they charge normally or would charge the locals. So that all comes into the confidence.
You want to give them a Spanish lesson when something's too hot?
What's that word? Comicio. Is it comicio?
No, carísimo.
Carísimo. It's carísimo.
Carísimo.
Ooh, that's carísimo.
Ooh, carísimo.
Because they know that you really
mucho carísimo.
See. So if you just muy caro is it's expensive, but if it's camicio, that's like that's what the locals would say.
If we were wrong with the Spanish, let us know.
That word, I know that word.
So yes, which brings us to our next point.
Yeah, community.
Isolation.
Isolation may be a thing for men.
It might be a fear, yeah.
Yeah. Typically, I didn't have a lot of friends in the States that I have friends, but not that I hung out with all the time or talked to every day. Especially working from home, it's like you're in the house all day and you kind of talk to your neighbors, you know your neighbors, things like that. But and I'll be the first. I've admitted this a couple times. Moving to Mexico, I was like, well, I don't really care about the community. I don't talk to anybody anyway. But community is a big deal when you're in a foreign country and can't speak the language and trying to navigate around. It definitely makes a difference. And then you may have men that have big communities, right? They have all these friends. They go to places, they hang out, they go, football games, they do all this stuff, and then you come to a place and where it's like, what am I gonna do now?
Don't be scared to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It is pretty much, and it can be something that is fearful to reach out and be friendly to people, to get to know a community or a new place. And so sometimes you tend to isolate yourself from others and thinking that this is it. And sometimes that can be a fear, right?
Yeah.
The cultural immersion is one. I mean, we have a lot of local friends now, and we are truly embracing Mexican life and what the locals do, and we want to celebrate just like you celebrate. We want to know, give us the history, let us know. Oh my gosh, I mean, the best thing ever is like Dios de los Muertos and putting yourself out there and embracing the culture. We're getting ready for like these different festivals and the blessing of the seeds and
Yeah, not only that, the more you immerse yourself in the local culture and get local friends, the cheaper your standard of living starts coming down too, because you start getting things, you start to figure out where
you start learning.
you start to learn where local shop and where, different places you can cut prices on things.
And
So,
you're building a sense of belonging here
absolutely.
in Mexico, right?
Yep.
Which brings us to our next one.
Yep. The fifth one is just the unknown. Just the unknown. A lot of us are set in our ways.
Are you setting your ways?
I'm not set in my ways. I'm not set in my ways. A lot of us are set in our ways, and just the unknown. We build the quote unquote American dream, right? You work, you go get a job, you get a house, you get the cars, you get all that stuff, and then you're asked to basically ditch all that and let's go move somewhere where I don't know anybody, can't speak the language, and kind of gotta start over type
Well,
of
to
thing.
be fair, the American dream is not a dream anymore. And I think and I'm just speaking not for every woman or every female, because I cannot do that. I'm just sharing my thoughts on it. That, especially from the married perspective, we want to live a beautiful life and what that life looks like for us. And I think it's just not saying ditch everything because this is not important or valuable anymore. It is just saying that there's really something that's potentially new on the horizon, and we may be able to obtain and thrive in something new.
Hence the pressure back to the man to make that happen.
Did I pressure you?
I'm not talking about in our situation.
I
I'm
know.
just saying.
I know. No.
But yeah, so there's a lot of pressure on men. Let's just be real.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's a lot of pressure on men in general.
I think looking past what we know to be the status quo and getting outside of that. And I think that there is a level of fear in that. I mean,
there's a level of fear in that too.
Yeah, because you really don't know what to expect. I mean, I don't care how many YouTube videos, I don't care how many Facebook groups you get in, until you boots on the ground. I don't care how many places you vacation. Let me also say that.
Oh yeah.
Because vacation is a temporary thing, right? You can deal with stuff on a vacation
or a temporary basis.
Yeah, but to actually be boots on the ground, be like, you know what? I'm looking at this from the perspective of, can this be something long term? Is there value here? Is there potential growth? Is this a place where both parties can thrive, or family can thrive? That is a fear. That can be a valid fear.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
However, what you can miss out on though is
you can miss out on a lot of stuff. I mean, you can miss out on new opportunities, growth, things you didn't know about yourself.
Yep, self-discovery, renewed sense of purpose. Like, I mean, you may pick up a new skill or hobby and be like, man, where has this been all my life? Or building the business that you couldn't build in where you are from, because of the politics and I mean, there may be a level of free thought and freedom in the unknown too, right? We always talk about the unknown being fearful.
Yeah.
But the unknown can also be fearless. You can maybe get a chance to meet people that you would never have met otherwise. I mean, we literally have moved to a place where these people were from the same places, same country that we were from. And had we not done this, we would never have met these amazing, incredible human beings and do life together with. So, I mean, it was something, and have really good connection and community, not superficial. I mean, like really good community. And maybe have taken us moving abroad to do that.
I agree.
Let me also throw this out here too, if you will. These are 5 fears that men may have about moving to Mexico, but very much these can apply to both male and
Yeah,
female.
I definitely, yeah, it definitely apply across the board.
Right. So, and especially with couples, right? Because we may be also having that fear together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, and like I said, it was targeted towards men because that's the conversation we were having. You know how we do. We have a conversation like, let's
And
just
then
put it out there and
we go off on a
yeah,
tangent.
let's
right?
see what people think.
And so, yes. But if you thought that this video was helpful, or you want to continue the conversation down below, put them in the comments.
Yeah.
You know, you can also do us a favor and
Like, subscribe, share.
comment again, and hit that notification bell to be alerted to our next video.